Called meeting to order. The first item of business is the approval of the minutes. And I would ask if there are any comments or suggestions.
I move to approve the minutes.
I hear none. If that's the case, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as circulated.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Then all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. I will make my report very, very brief, except to say that it has been a fabulous year for the branch in spite of the pandemic. We have a lot of new committees working really hard on a lot of our activities. The Centennial Committee has produced a wonderful short promotional video for the branch. If you entered, you saw it right on the website for ILW, so everybody can see our little promotional video. And we have a whole series of events that they're going to work on over this year, because on January 27th, ABILA will become, of 2022, we will become 100 years old. So there will be some celebrations with respect to, we've survived to 100, yay. Almost, right? Still 2 months to go. I guess there's been a depression, a couple wars, well, only one war. Well, some small, yeah, some other wars, several wars, and a pandemic or two in that time. And so we're doing pretty well to still be standing. And they'll be reaching out to everybody for various activities. ILW has been fantastically successful. I see Naui, I see Amity. I don't know if Julian Arado is with us. Amity or Naui, do you want to say a word about ILW 2021 as the co-chairs who have done an amazing job?
Sure, I'd be happy to say a couple words. I think at this stage, the main thing is just a huge thank you to this committee for its support, of course, to Layla for her extraordinary leadership, and we've had a really great organizing committee. We still have a full day of programming, which will include the career session that's going to be led by Amity. So I'll let her say a few words.
Thank you, Naui. Yes, I echo all of your thoughts. It's been such a wonderful ILW so far. I thank everyone for taking part, whether you're a speaker, our fearless leadership with Layla, Michael Sharp, and David, and my co-chairs and all of the organizing committee, to all of the participants and the attendees, even just in a small networking room that we had yesterday, we were representing 4 different continents. So the virtual format definitely has its benefits, and it's really brought together so many different people from lots of different places of all walks of life and ages. So it's really been wonderful. And as Naui said, later today, we have a career program. We're trying something a little different this year, where we're going to have an opening session that's only 30 minutes, very quick, fast paced. And then we're going to break out into 4 rooms so that the students can have an interactive discussion with experts in various areas. So please spread the word. It starts at 3 o'clock, and thank you and enjoy the rest of the last day of ILW.
Thank you so much. And I have to say, our co-chairs have worked tirelessly, especially Amity on the career panel, which was really, I understand, quite the achievement, especially working with our longtime partner, the International Law Students Association, which is facing its own challenges with another year of virtual Jessup and so many things. So thank you, Amity, for doing that. It is, but it's so important because it is the future of our field, right? It is the future of our field. And many of you are actually appearing and participating in that career panel. So thank you all for doing that. And Naui was there when we had Professor Hathaway's keynote yesterday. Thank you, Naui, for sharing that. And Julian has been behind the scenes doing amazing work. I don't know if any of you have had an opportunity to zoom into the panels, but the quality of the presentations is it's unparalleled, actually, and extremely diverse. Maddie tells me, well, maybe Maddie, I'll let you just give that in your report, but I think we have over 70 countries represented actually in attendance. I don't think we'll be able to replicate that in person without an enormous budget, which would allow for the hybrid format. We'll see what Fordham can offer us, but certainly we will keep some aspect of this ability to connect across great distances in our future meetings. There was also a great conference at Case Western. Dean Scharf, our president-elect, had to Zoom off to actually in person Saudi Arabia last night after hosting the trivia night. But he hosted a wonderful in-person event at Case Western. Jennifer and I were there. Was anybody else here physically present? It was slightly stressful because the hotel was not observing COVID protocols. And so Jennifer and I scooted to a very quiet outdoor dinner on our own, but it was a really fantastic conference. A couple of big ILA conferences coming up. So Portugal this summer, they are planning in person. They have a 4-star hotel already reserved. It's on your agenda, but it's Lisbon, June 19th to the 24th. And then the big sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary of the ILA, our parent organization, is going to be in Paris in 2023. That will again be a very, very big event. I encourage everybody, if you can, go to either a biennial or certainly the sesquicentennial. I haven't been able to travel to as many as I wish, but it is one of the best things about ILA is we have this 63 branch organization. And I should say one of the things we've done this year is we are sort of sponsoring the South African branch. We have several of their members who we've invited to come to this conference for free. We're going to keep that relationship going in the future because linking up with some of our branches where people can't afford the fees, even these reasonable fees, and certainly they can't afford to travel. So that's something that was an initiative of Arnold Pronto, our UN liaison, and a South African. He's a member of the South African branch as well as the American branch. And so we're hoping to continue that in the future to just try to bridge those connections between us and the other branches. Jump in if you have questions or throw them into the chat. I know Zoom can be a little weird for questions, but Maddie, can you go ahead and give us your membership officer report? And also, I believe you have an announcement to make, do you not?
I do. So I will give us our quick membership numbers, and then I will announce our trivia winner, which I know is why we are all here. So to follow up, Layla, we have about 1,500 people Zooming in for ILW from at least 78 countries in every single time zone. And so as Amity said, I know if you've been to any committee room, you will see everything from sunrises to sunsets to 3 a.m. And it's been a really great experience. Pleased to report our membership numbers are very strong. We have, as of this morning, 491 active members of the American branch and an additional 78 memberships that are on hold or pending. So if you are one of those 78 and have not paid your dues, or you can't, if you're struggling with the new dues system we have online, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help with that. Just to point out, our membership numbers are really important for the American branch. Of course, we're part of the ILA, and we do report our numbers to London, and our numbers determine how many spots, how much representation we have on ILA committees, which are highly influential, and we want to make sure we're providing as many of our members as possible the opportunity to sit on those committees. If you're not a member of the American branch yet and would like to join, we do provide a 2-year discount to members, and you can take advantage of that on the membership page of our website. And of course, membership is always free for students. So we welcome everyone to join. Always email me if you have questions. I'd also just point out, please consider becoming a sustaining member of the branch or a patron in recognition of the 100th anniversary. As Layla said, it's been so rewarding to have this experience where we can have people joining ILW as speakers and attendees from around the world. And if we want to continue that in person, it will be much more expensive. So those kind of sustaining memberships do support us doing more projects like that. And now if you have questions about membership, please drop them in the chat. But I will take this opportunity to announce the winner of our second annual trivia night. I hosted trivia last night with Michael Scharf, and thank you for everyone who played. It was a really fun time. We had teams competing from all around the world. I think one player messaged me that they were coming in from Myanmar and playing, I think it was like 3 a.m. So we had a lot of fun. And our winner was a group of LLM students from Columbia Law School, along with some friends of theirs that they have from teaching or working together in international practice. It was a very international team with players from Austria, Canada, the USA, and Chile. And the team was composed of Michael Moffat, Kevin Gray, Benjamin Salas, Marcelo Meza, Barry Hashimoto, and Douglas Pivnichny. So congratulations. I think Michael's on the meeting with us. So Michael, I'm handing you a virtual award. Thank you very much for playing. Of course, your prize will be shipped. Are you on here? So we
Yes,
can...
I'm here. I'm here.
Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maddie. And thank you to everyone that came up with the fantastic questions yesterday. We really had a tremendous amount of fun discussing them. And until now, until this morning, we're still via WhatsApp debating individual questions. So we learned a lot in the process. We greatly enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And all I could think of is how much more fun that would have been had we all been around tables with glasses of wine or some other adult beverage. Gamal, you're screen sharing, so maybe we want to disable that, Maddie. Next year in person to celebrate our centennial, right? We'll maybe sell tickets, not to students, of course, always free for students, but I think it'll be really fun for us next year. Any questions for Maddie? By the way, I should just say Maddie is doing an amazing job because she is not only our membership officer and dealing with everybody who can't figure out, including me, the website and how do I pay my dues and how do I do this, but she's also served as our ILW administrative officer. And I have seen emails from her at 2 o'clock in the morning for the last 3 days. So I hope you get some well-deserved rest when this is over, Maddie, because it's going so well and we couldn't do it without you.
Thank you, Layla.
Yeah, thank you. No, really. There should be an award for how little sleep one of our members gets during ILW. Houston, you should get an award too, because I believe we're still in the black.
I know, that's shocking, isn't it? Just so everybody knows, it's the treasurer's report has been circulated already, but as of October 11, I didn't update it because it's only less than 20 days ago. We had $745,704, so call it $746,000. There you go, I'm rounding up. A fair bit's in the stock market, but roughly 200,000 in cash. It's gone up since I took over the purse, and there you go. That's all I can say. So we're doing well. We'll figure out how we did after this International Law Weekend when I start getting the bills and paying them, which usually takes up to, usually someone writes to us in January or February, why didn't you pay this bill? And my response is usually, why didn't you send it? So by March 1st, I usually know whether we made money or lost. We usually make a little bit of money. And I hope that we're going to have enough support that we can do this virtually and in real life next year, so that people can therefore join us from anywhere. And I think that it won't detract from our participation in New York. But I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Houston. And I should say that Madeline, in addition to all her other jobs, has been extraordinarily persistent. And we have a record number of sponsors, financial sponsors this year. We did do one, I don't know if it's controversial, but we did have one change. Last year for ILW, we only had about 135 people pay to attend out of 2,000 registrations, and that's just not sustainable. And so we have asked everybody to pay this year, but we're extremely generous, no questions asked, not students never pay, but we have actually asked everybody who is coming, who is registering, who is participating to pay something, a very small amount. We have had some pretty significant pushback from some folks who are used to not paying. And every time they tell me that, I send them the ASIL mid-year meeting website and inform them that I'm going to pay $50 for the privilege of reading 3 papers and discussing them. And so it's very hard to put on events like this for free. We just can't. We have to have revenue. So that's something maybe we'll talk about at our next board meeting, because I do want to get input on it. But I think we just had to make sure that we have enough revenue, because next year, especially if we want to do a hybrid meeting, I'm assuming Fordham will charge us for the AV services, and that will be expensive. And we just have a lot more expenses when we have a physical location. So we have to be mindful of, I have to keep my treasurer happy. And that means we have to do better than break even. We actually had to do well. And I think this year we did well, and that's going to allow us to go into next year for our centennial with a really positive balance sheet. So Maddie, again, thank you for that. Report of co-directors of studies, Jennifer Trahan and Peter Yu, our indefatigable DOS.
I think Peter's going to start us off, right, Peter? Peter?
Yes, I'm here. I just need to unmute myself. So, so committees are a very big part of the branch, and we have 20 committees and 19 committees and 1 study group, and they are all active. And this is actually very exciting for both Jennifer and I, because everybody is pitching in and doing different things, and we have a report of all the different committees and study groups. And one of the big things that they have been working on is to participate in this year's International Law Weekend. So out of the 32 panels, we have 14 panels that are organized from committee. They are either co-organized or independently organized. And so that's about over 40%. And so that's very exciting. Because we are doing the International Law Weekend on Zoom, we're able to do a lot of networking rooms. And 15 of the 20 committees have participating in a networking room. And so we have 75% participation. And that's just wonderful. And we are hoping that we'll be able to find some ways to keep the networking rooms, because it's very helpful for the committees. This year, we have 2 new committees. The first one is Committee on Legitimacy and Fundamental Principles of International Law. And Marty Flaherty and Stephen Schneebaum has kindly agreed to co-chair the committee. And then we have another committee on international law in domestic courts. And Tim Sellers has agreed to chair the committee, and Tim is here with us at the annual meeting. And another thing that we have been doing is nominating our members to represent the branch at the International Law Association. And so after the biannual meeting in Kyoto, or online, unfortunately, that 4 of the committees have been dissolved because they have completed the work on the mandate. And some of the committees have worked for over a decade. So we want to thank all those members who participated in those 4 committees. There's a lot of work, and there's also a lot of resources that have been consumed on their own part to go to International Law Association meetings. We have appointed or nominated 4 members to join the committees from the headquarters. First, Hannam has been appointed for the Committee on Human Rights in Times of Emergency. David Antanasio has been appointed to the Committee on Rule of Law and International Investment Law. and Jim Nafziger and J.R. Ramji Nagalas have been nominated for the Committee on International Migration and International Law. And there was a new committee that was formed in May 2021, and their nomination will be taken up by the Executive Council next month. And finally, before I turn it over to Jennifer, yesterday we had a meeting for the chairs and co-chairs. We have 14 committees represented, so that's 70% as well. And so that's actually very exciting with all the participation. So on that note, let me turn it over to Jennifer.
Thanks, Peter. As Peter has mentioned, we have 19 committees in one study group, and they've been quite active on COVID notwithstanding. So you already heard about their role with ILW and networking rooms. So I'll highlight a few things they've done outside of that context. So we're seeing more collaboration, I think. For instance, we have a joint arbitration workshop series formed by 2 committees. We have had committees do freestanding panels, so outside of the ILW context. We have had committees issue statements. We have a committee doing a regular podcast. One of our committees has formed a subcommittee that, with help of the Whitney R. Harris World Law Institute, has submitted an amicus brief to the U.S. Supreme Court. It also has a working group that's working on a white paper on a certain topic. We've seen collaboration in a film showing and discussion, collaboration with ASIL. We have several committees with members very active at the ILA level. And boy, ILA keeps you really busy on some committees, I can say firsthand. We have committees having speaker series. One hosted a whole conference. And our study group has produced a book. So it's just a variety of different initiatives. And so I think they're all active, and we're in touch with all of them. And we convened 14 of them last night, unfortunately missing the trivia competition. And just to report back some of their thoughts going forward, there probably will be discussion of the centennial celebrations coming up, but the committee chairs would be happy to participate. There was a request, if we do ILW again online, to spread the networking sessions out more, so they don't conflict so much. And then there was a strong call to keep the networking breakout rooms somehow at Fordham. So when we go back in person, and we're not sure, how the space would allow this, and if they give us extra rooms, but the committee chairs like the networking breakout rooms. So we'd like to kind of keep that feature when we go back to being in person. And a question was raised whether ABILA should do more to promote JESSA. So those were just some of the takeaways from our meeting that we held last night. So I think that's it, unless I missed anything, Peter.
No, it's great.
Thank you so much, Peter and Jennifer. You've just done an amazing job. And it is, we work through our committees, and one of the distinguishing features of the branch is that the committees participate both at the national and the international level to the formation of international law. And so the committee work is a core part of what distinguishes our organization from others. And I appreciate all of you for chairing, for participating, and Peter and Jennifer for shepherding our committees to success. And we will have to think creatively, right? Because we don't book into some huge hotel for our conference where you would have lots and lots of rooms, but you would pay lots and lots of money. Fordham actually gives us the space for free, and they give us lunch, which is really quite kind of them. But then I don't think we can kick their students out of their classrooms for our event. So we'll have to think of a creative way to keep the best of the virtual while enjoying, of course, being in person again next year. Okay, now for our awards. Maybe that's what you've all been waiting for. And Tim, I put in the chat, Tim is actually chairing a different committee, but he also chaired our book award committee. And Tim, do you want to give a report of the committee and the award?
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to award the ABILA Book of the Year Award for 2021. The Book of the Year Award is given each year to a book written by an ABILA member within the calendar year of the nomination or the previous calendar year. The members of this year's Book of the Year committee were Mark Janus of the University of Connecticut, Margaret McGinnis of St. John's University, and Fernanda Nicola of American University's Washington College of Law, and myself. And the 2021 Book of the Year was Complementarity, Catalysts, Compliance, the International Criminal Court in Uganda, Kenya, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And it was written by Christian M. DeVos and published by Cambridge University Press in 2021. Dr. DeVos's book coupled a perceptive analytical insight into the legitimacy and effectiveness of the International Criminal Court with careful empirical research leading to persuasive and useful conclusions on the role that complementarity can play in the implementation of international criminal law. So the volume was excellent and amply deserves recognition as the 2021 ABILA Book of the Year. So congratulations, Dr. DeVos.
Thank you so much, Professor Sellers and everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. Yeah, my internet connection was a little funny a few minutes ago, but hopefully we're okay. Just want to thank you all so much for this award. My thanks to the American branch of the International Law Association, of course, of who I've been a member for many years, and also for creating this award. I remember a year or two ago seeing its creation and thinking, oh, that sounds very nice. Little did I think I would get to be a recipient of it. So that's a thrill. And of course, thank you to the selection committee for their service and reading through what I'm sure were a number of wonderful texts and for their service. And also, I promised I would show the, although this is a problem with the screen background, unfortunately, it's blurred. I don't know if there's let me see if I can take that away.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So there it is. Thank you so much to Madeline for sending this in time, and it will hold a place of honor on my office wall. So thank you for coordinating that. And I think I also just wanted to acknowledge, since most of the people on this membership call are professors and teachers and educators, to thank all the teachers in my life and career who helped me write this dissertation that became this book. And I wanted to particularly acknowledge too, from my law school days, Professor Diane Orentleicher and Susanna Sakuto from the War Crimes Research Office, whose work and scholarship really brought me into this field and to the study of the ICC in particular. And also to Professors Larissa Vandenherek and Karsten Stahn from Leiden University, where I received my PhD and where this work began. We're not on the call, but nevertheless, I wanted to acknowledge them. And then also 20 students who are on this call, and the many who I'm sure are part of the International Law Weekend, to just remind them that they should hold on to the ideas that excite them and dig into them. It's what really brought me to pursuing the dissertation and then seeing it through to a book, which was both a labor of love and also occasional hate. But as many other authors here, I'm sure can attest. And just also to acknowledge some of the people in the member meeting right now whose scholarship and advocacy and work on behalf of or in defense of the ICC has meant so much. Professor Trahan, I see Gabor Rona, who was a fellow plaintiff with my organization, the Open Society Justice Initiative, not too long ago. And of course, Layla, also a party to another lawsuit. So it's wonderful to see the blend of advocacy and scholarship that I think is so critical to international law broadly, but certainly to the work of the court and international criminal justice. So thank you all so much. It's a real pleasure and honor.
Thank you so much, Christian. Well deserved. And I look forward to reading it. So we have two other awards. If it's okay, Jennifer, would you just say one word quickly? And then we have a little video for the Charles Siegal Service Award, because Michael and Jim are not here. The video is a little long, so Maddie's going to cut some of the introduction out of it. But Jennifer, while Maddie's figuring out the video, do you want to say something about the Outstanding Achievement Award?
Yeah, I think most of you maybe were just on. I hope Prosecutor Bensouda gave a wonderful keynote address. As you could tell from the program, she was the recipient of the inaugural ABILA Outstanding Achievement Award. So my committee was, oh, Layla, I didn't know I was going to mention, who is my committee? I'm drawing a blank because I wasn't.
That's okay. You can put it in the chat. Maybe.
I will have to put it in my chat. I didn't realize I was speaking.
You can put it in the chat while we're watching the video of Michael and Jim. How about that?
So, you know, she is just an incredibly dedicated individual who showed tremendous courage and leadership under really trying times, not only the United States when they put sanctions on her, but even before that, some of her cases really brought her into personal danger. So it's really been a difficult time, and I think she is, she has strived as much as possible to be impartial in all of her situations and to persevere. And not as she presented without adequate funding, or the ICC would be doing so much more. So I think in honor of all of her contributions, it was really, it was not difficult to choose her. This is a new award that I hope we have each year. I guess it was my proposal last year to create it. I do think it's nice to have these awards. I know there's a proposal to expand the outstanding, the book award into different categories. And Milena Stereo, who is a member of the board, presented last night the idea of creating a teaching award. So we may want to ponder and act on that. So it is lovely to have these awards to honor members who are deserving and beyond members. So
thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you for all your work on that. And I think the other proposal I heard maybe from the book award committee is that we think of names for the other awards. I think, Tim, that may have come from your committee, that we actually consider naming the other awards the way we have the Charles Siegal Service Award. It is lovely to recognize our members in that way. Maddie, do we have time for just a small clip from the service award video that Jim and Michael recorded?
Yes, so I put the information in the chat. I will post the video online and we can just watch the start of Jim accepting his award.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Sure can.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mike, for your very kind introduction, and thanks also to all of my colleagues in ABILA. My work in ABILA and the ILA as a whole has really been central in my professional life. I'm sort of taken aback, Michael, to realize it's been 40 years, as you reminded me. In any event, it has been an extraordinarily enjoyable experience for me, and I'm looking forward to continuing on as the organization continues to develop. I don't know whether the appropriate word is thrilled or deeply moved to express my appreciation. I think it's probably both, but I am really just so pleased to receive this award. I am especially pleased just a year after the first award was made to Cynthia Lichtenstein, who for many of us is the grande dame, or the great lady of ABILA. I think we all, to some extent, follow in her footsteps, which were well defined even before she, long before she received the award. I'm also very pleased that it's the Charles Siegal Award. He was a cherished colleague. When I stepped down as chair of the Human Rights Committee, I eagerly passed the baton to Chuck. And he, fortunately, busy as he was as a leading international lawyer in Los Angeles, accepted the baton and ran with it such as he could. And he did a brilliant job as chair of the Human Rights Committee. In addition, I had the idea, as Michael kindly mentioned, that we should establish or at least experiment with regional meetings. It was kind of a parochial, self-serving idea, because here I am way out in the Pacific Northwest, and we simply don't get quite the advantages of Northeast or simply Eastern accessibility. So I had in mind specifically to begin with a Western regional meeting of ABILA. I got in touch with Chuck and was very gratified that he was willing to organize the first regional meeting in LA. I still remember exactly the little restaurant in Washington at the time of the ACIL meeting, when Chuck and I met to plot the first meeting, but Chuck deserves a lot of credit for helping initiate the regional meetings as well. So the organization is really not just a going concern, but a growing concern, thanks to current leadership. It's really on the move, and that makes my own well-established commitment, my long association with both ABILA and the ILA, all the more exciting. When I mention the word concern, of course, in a different sense, I think we're all concerned that these are not the best of times for international law. That's why organizations like ours, and I would have to say, you know, I'm very prejudiced, especially ours, have picked up on this concern, are moving with it, and I think making some progress. First, to try to restore some of the lost art, and also simply to progress as we are doing. So I am very enthusiastically looking forward to continuing my association with ABILA, my deep commitment to its work as a leading non-governmental organization. And I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for this plaque and this award.
Well, Jim,
Oh, that was just so wonderful. And the whole, I think all of you can send an email to Jim. Michael's introduction was very, very kind as well. And Jim is He's such an inspiration to all of us. I remember one year when I was able to travel, right in those days when we used to actually go to meetings. Not only would I find Jim at ILW, but there would be the comparative law meeting, which he would be at, and then I'd see him at ASOL. So he's just been somebody who has invested and served so many organizations. And so receiving this service award, I think, is so important. Yeah. Okay, so we have one sad bit of business, which is we have an in memoriam for a member we've lost. I know we are running a little bit over if you have to leave. The next panels don't start until 9:40, well, 10:45, I think, Eastern time. Sorry, I'm in the Central time zone. If we can just maybe, David, turn to you to remember fondly one of our members who is no longer with us, at least physically.
Of course, thanks, Leila. And following on Jim's comments about the art of international law and investment in our branch, I think it's entirely appropriate to take a minute to remember a good friend and colleague, John Murphy, who passed away this past February after an infection at the age of 83. He's a great international lawyer, a wonderful friend, colleague, and of course, a devoted supporter, active contributor to the American branch. He is a graduate of Cornell, both law and undergrad. He worked in India after graduation, spent a year in private practice, and then went to the office of the legal advisor at the Department of State for 3 years, after which he went back into private practice and then into academia, first at Kansas and then at Cornell, at Georgetown, at the Naval War College, and finally ending up at Villanova, where he spent most of his career. He also taught outside the United States at Aix-en-Provence, in London, Mexico City, Paris, and Haifa. Altogether, a wonderful and rich and rewarding career for a person who was devoted to international law, like many of us are. He was, of course, active in our sister organizations, the section on international law and ASOL, but particularly with us in this branch, including as an honorary vice president. He's a widely published, my own favorite was one of his earliest books, The United States and the Rule of Law in International Affairs. Long before foreign affairs law was really a popular topic. It was a great piece, I thought, a groundbreaker. But I also enjoyed his works and his writings on the law of terrorism, where he was, again, an early contributor. He's a gifted teacher, a scholar, a consummate gentleman. For those of you who had the opportunity, the privilege of knowing him, he was a wonderful storyteller. Just altogether a great colleague, friend, and I really enjoyed working him. He'll be missed, but remembered with fondness and gratitude by all of those of us who had the great honor to work with him. So that's the report.
Thank you so much, David. And maybe we could just have a moment of silence and remembrance of John Murphy, our colleague and friend. Thank you so much. Gone, but certainly not forgotten. Any new business? Any new business? I feel like the lovely thing about our members meeting is we've sort of gone the arc now to those of senior status who have achieved so much. Some are still with us receiving awards, some have passed. And we had our young members winning trivia contests, and those of us in the middle working hard to keep the trains running. Any other business suggestions, thoughts? We have a full day of panels ahead of us. Maddie?
I just want to take the opportunity to thank our student ambassadors who are doing an excellent job during ILW. I think some of them are on this call, so just know that we really appreciate everything you guys are doing to help. Thank you.
Do you have their names, Maddie? I know they're from many different schools too, and I read them on day one, but now I can't read my notes.
Sam Walker from UIC is in the house.
Hi, Sam. Thank
Hello.
you.
Thanks, Professor Wojcik.
We have Angelica. I'm trying to pull up the list with schools, but Sam, do you happen to have it in front of you? Put you on the spot.
I had it the first day. It was Case Western, Willamette, UIC, John Marshall. Is that what it's called now, Mark? Your new name?
It's just the UIC School of Law.
UIC School of Law, Georgetown, GW.
Here we go. And Pepperdine and Santa Clara University Schools of Law and Toro College Law Center. And the names we have Brooke Brenham, Hannah Fullweiler, Riley Garrison, Rory Hayes, Angelica Kilgos, Nasser Nidal, Raj Talwala, and Sam Walker. So thanks to all 8 of you. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, and Hannah's here on our call too. She just shouted out herself out in the chat. Hi, Hannah. Hi.
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. You are the future. So I love that. We really have had a full arc during our members meeting, new ones joining, and others practicing international law in the sky. And it's great to see everybody, even through our little tiny Zoom screens. And next year we will be together. So look for lots and lots of information about the Centennial Campaign. There'll be videos, there'll be opportunities for giving. Of course, we couldn't be an organization without an appeal to people to become sustaining members or patrons. And there'll be lots more events happening throughout the year. Meanwhile, I will end, or David, maybe you're our chair, so you need to entertain the motion to dismiss, I believe.
I shall entertain the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconds.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you, everybody.